Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, I don't know when or where you are. You might be watching this on the live stream or you might be watching this at some point in the future. Welcome to you both, because you might be doing it now and in the future. Hadn't thought about that one so far today. It's like the red pill and the blue pill.
At once. It's purple.
Purple, there we go. We're here live at Odyssey Mission Control. Momentum has been happening for the last days, weekend. I'm here with Rutger van Zoudam. As you can see, it's pitch black outside. We've been having a lot of fun doing the finales today. And we're here for the finale with our challenge stakeholders, challenge leads, and the teams have called in. Not all of them, of course, the representatives or team captains. And we're here to talk about conflict prevention.
Yeah,
And
wow.
we're going to find out which the winning team is. That's coming to you soon. But, you know, I'm going to build up some tension and make these folks even more nervous. You know, they've been awake and burning flesh. Although I see that we've got some folks who have brilliant sunlight behind them. So I'm guessing they're at all around the world and further away. So they look well rested and I'm thoroughly jealous. If it's okay, I think we should bring in our challenge leads.
Absolutely.
And I'm a good Englishman, so of course we will start ladies first. And we have on the line Gertie Aarts, and she's the challenge lead here, coming in from the Dutch Ministry of Defense. Gertie, you're now full screen. If I could ask you to unmute your microphone and join us.
Thank you, Nick. Good evening from Rotterdam to Nick and to Rutger.
Hey
Perfect.
Gertie.
Yeah, lovely to be here. And wow, what a great time that we have over the whole weekend with everybody, with your team, with our teams, with the ecosystem. We absolutely loved it. And we would like to congratulate you guys at Odyssey that you really pulled it off. Mass collaboration online, you did it. Congrats.
Very good, Gertie. I have to compliment you on your awesome headset and mic. You look like a true operator of some kind of spaceship that went into orbit and did great and awesome stuff. So I really love the looks on you.
We're ready for takeoff in a minute.
Very good.
There we go. It totally fits with the theme. Gertie, if I may ask you so bluntly, because we don't know who's watching this, it could be the general public, it could be some of your most important stakeholders now or in the future. Conflict prevention, I mean, this is not an easy subject to talk about. What you know, there's no point in me saying why is it a challenge. Obviously, nobody in the world really wants conflict, at least I hope not. But what does this challenge mean for you?
For me, I think I've a strong connection to it personally. I'm somebody who likes to see a better world. That is exactly the reason why I work for defense. So I feel very strongly connected to this challenge. I'm happy to do this with Dirk-Jan Broks, my colleague from the policy branch, who is the head of conflict prevention policy team. I'm flying in from the Innovation Center of the Commander of Defense, and we cooperated together with the teams to really make the conflict prevention challenge happen this weekend. The challenge is about a digital architecture for peace, where everybody is an actor and where everybody is a sensor. And we're looking for an early warning system that works. And what that means, that works, that is very important 2 words that makes all the difference between having data and having action. Because there is a humongous amount of data being collected right now, but there is no timely action. A very good example, pandemic, COVID-19 we are in right now. We have had many years where virologists indicated that something like a pandemic could happen. Scenarios were in place, scenarios were exercised, but no action from the most important people in the government. Only action when the crisis was there. Maybe Dirk-Jan would like to add something from his military experience. Dirk-Jan.
Fabulous, thank you for that. We're just going to switch the screens over. Dirk-Jan, I think that was very clear and concise, but what is your add-on to that?
Yes, for me it's very important that to realize that conflict prevention is not about the military. If we are talking about conflict prevention, a lot of people always look to the military, but it's not about the military. It's really with other parties. For us, as the military, is very important to find those likely partners. And that's very nice with this Odyssey. For me, once in a while, a very bumpy ride. Far outside my comfort zone. But it was great. And especially meeting unlikely partners like Simon Franken of PRU, JP Dominic, Nation 2.0, but especially Stilla Elworthy and Fritz from Business to Peace. What a very inspiring people to meet.
And Dirk-Jan, if I may interrupt you for a second, we're having just a little bit of muddiness on your audio. I think it is understandable, but I think you just mentioned something really important, and that was Scilla from Business Plan for Peace, because when she presented at, I think it was Polaris?
Yeah, Polaris in the Hall of Nights.
That for me, I mean, I've got goosebumps just thinking about it right now. And if I'm probably going to murder this, but I condense it. She said, look, you know, conflict, war, better said, makes a lot of money. There's a lot of incentives for some people, unfortunately, to do that. And the only way we're going to stop that is to make it better for them to not have it. A business plan for peace. And I was just like, this is so obvious, obviously at a very, very, very high level. This is a no-brainer, but it must be one of the most impossible tasks on the planet. And that just made me, like you, very, very inspired as to how we can think differently from, you know, all the I suspect most of you have always grown up knowing conflict and knowing that, you know, things happen there, and we have defense systems and defense organizations to try and yes, it's defense, but it's also, yeah, now inspired, mind blown.
I think also where you're getting at, Nick, is what I hear Gertie say is that there are a ton of systems, there is even more data, and yet we don't have it yet, right? So then what is the breakthrough thing that we are looking for? And what Dirk-Jan is saying is actually realizing that, okay, there's because Dirk-Jan makes a leap, not just a step, right? He says conflict prevention is not about the military. No, I didn't think that in the first place, because wasn't the military supposed to be in the conflict? So
well, that depends on your perspective.
Exactly, but so even if in a very positive way, right, to be peacekeeping, yeah, or stuff like that, but then there's still conflict.
If you have peacekeeping, there's a reason for it.
Exactly. So in this way, what Dirk-Jan is talking about is even preventing that from happening. So how do you prevent that from happening?
And that's kind of like a meta level down the rabbit hole of where does this whole thing really begin, instead of what we think it is.
So then if you talk about the military being involved in conflict prevention and then realizing that it is all about human behavior, because that was actually, I think, what Dirk-Jan was pointing towards, right?
So actually, I was trying to build a bridge to Gertie.
Yeah. Ah, okay, yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. And we're here because...
Oh.
Yeah,
okay. I had to unmute myself.
Yeah.
No, you're right. So that's why we participated last weekend in your hackathon with all those fabulous teams. We wanted to tap into a different pool of knowledge, experience, and creativity to come up with solutions that we ourselves probably would not think of. And we have had from every team an interesting angle and interesting solutions. Do you allow me to present the key for every of the 5? Do we have time for that?
I'm getting a thumbs up that we've not only got time, but please do. Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, then I'll start with Teriak. Teriak is building a solution based on peace indicators. allowing local people to act as early warning sensors for decision makers to act at higher decision-making levels and take de-escalating decisions. That's one. Topple, of Chris, built a solution based on peace credits, allowing peace builders to better measure their peace outputs, excuse me, and unlock new sources of innovative financing to support their work on the ground in conflict areas. So that was 2. 3, Athena, using AI to provide comprehensive, reliable insights on upcoming conflicts and their causes, and share this information through blockchain with all relevant stakeholders in conflict areas to act upon in terms of de-escalation. Then we have, as 4th, the mamas, focusing on better decisions made by decision makers at the higher political levels by experiencing the effect of their decisions through VR. Because virtual reality is the ultimate empathy machine, as I learned from the mamas, Gudela and Frederick.
Holy moly.
And they also indicate every time a little bit of mother energy is really needed in this area to compensate for all the masculine testosterone, right?
No argument
And then, and then we have Disciple, who is focusing on unmet, non-controversial, basic needs as a source of conflict, and help people to become aware of these needs by an app with a chatbot. So those are the 5 fabulous teams that we worked with for the whole weekend, and together with our ecosystem partners. And yeah, we had really difficult time to pick a good winner, because we think each of these solutions have potential to be worked in something great.
So I was listening along there, and fantastic that you can summarize these so articulately as well, because again, this is not easy stuff. And I was just sat there thinking, that sounds good. That sounds good. That sounds pretty good too, because they're not focused on solving the same thing.
Right.
So I'm curious how you and the jury came to the decision of, not who you decided, but how did you come to the process of a winner when you're comparing, sort of apples with oranges and lemons and a peach and then a potato as well, just for fun?
Yeah. No, you're right, Nick. That was a challenge for the jury. I have to say we had a fabulous jury. Every person in the jury had a 6-person jury, and each person had a different angle, looking from a different perspective. We had an excellent tech guy. He is a lieutenant colonel in the Air Force. He developed white flag protocol. So he is a blockchain guy, and he was very intensely involved with all the teams. He actually could really check firsthand whether the code that they had written was sound and solid. And so we had a good brief from him on the results of each of the team. But we also had a behavioral specialist, of course, Dirk Jan and myself. And who did I miss, Dirk Jan?
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Oh, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, yeah. Our humanitarian colleague who work on early warning on an everyday basis, and they used data to help them with that. So, we had a 2-hour deliberation, to be honest. Well, first of all, we struggled with the Miro board. We are not very avid Miro board practitioners, but we made it work. And then we had about an hour of conversation to really go through again and again the positives and the negatives, or the weaker points of each of the solutions of the teams. But to indicate what Nick was asking, what was the basis for our decision to pick a winner? Well, beforehand, we defined 6 criteria that we thought would be vital for any solution, that they had to comply with that. And I'll explain to you now. That is, the solution had to be timely. So the solution had to help de-escalate conflict before conflict reached the tipping point of violence. So very important, timely. Then we said, okay, it needs to be useful. So people need to be able to use it in an everyday setting, and it should contribute to de-escalation. Thirdly, we said it has to be inviting. People should want it to use. So it should be simple, even by people who cannot read or write. So that makes it attractive to use. And fourth, it has to be safe. It should be used by people, should be able to be used by people and know that when they share or they provide information, that it is safe to do so, that it will not harm them. Also, that it has to be trustworthy. People who would like to act upon the information that they receive through this medium, they have to understand that the information can be trusted. Otherwise, you don't want to act. And the last criterion was that it needs to be accessible, with easy access, also in terms of hardware and infra, also in situations where the infrastructure is broken, and that it can be the physical infrastructure or the digital infrastructure, as is very often the case. Look like Syria, for instance, or Iraq, or any conflict-ridden area in the world. And that is exactly the kind of environment where the military ultimately has to arrive to put things in order.
Right.
So and that's why we bring our own infrastructure with us. So 6 criteria.
Wow, I've got to say, if I can just break in for a moment and give you a moment to breathe, of course. Rutger, holy cow.
Yeah, I'm blown away. This is so impressive because it's like, it fits the military. It's like, this is how we're going to do it. Bam, bam, bam. It's absolutely clear.
Well,
no doubt about it.
No, not this is how we're going to do it. This is what you need to achieve in order to get through. Wow. Of course, the military joke is in there, but at the same time, we're talking about big issues, conflict. I could make a funny joke about we're solving world peace here, but we might actually be going in that direction, and then at the same time you are able to make such crystal clear criteria. And I was listening, and there is a very clear choice of words in each of those criteria. For example, it must be useful. So no more, great, we've got the data, but we can't do anything. If we can't do anything with it, don't even go there. Wow, I'm stunned. Not surprised, but my heart's beating faster.
It fits a 4 o'clock stand-up.
Absolutely. Oh yes. Nobody came back to us and said that they did a stand-up earlier than 4 a.m. I suspect there might have been some at 2 a.m., but they would have been hangover from. So you win the award. I'm making this up on the fly for the earliest stand-up ever.
The early bird. Yeah.
But Gertie, I was interrupting you and giving you a moment to breathe there. Before we get into announcing the winner, is there anything else you want to add about that process?
Maybe I can add the motivation without stating who the winner is.
Okay, and with that, these are some really smart people here, so you've got to be careful to not let it slip with a pronoun or they did this or they did that. I trust you on this one.
Right. Well, the team that best fulfilled the brief was the team that fulfilled the 6 criteria I just mentioned, that provided a technically sound pilot, that provided a solution that not only we, but also our partners considered realistic and interesting and useful, and a solution that would be able to attract real interest from partners, as already has been shown during the hackathon. So they have already contacts with people from our ecosystem who would like to continue to work with them.
Wow. Okay. So
also
again,
pretty clear.
Clear way of getting there, and then a clear they did this, and this, and therefore that made it possible for you to declare them a winning team. Of course, that says nothing about the other teams. I'm just going to put out a little bit of a disclaimer. Here at Odyssey, we don't believe in losers, which is typically the alternative to winning. There are no losers here because you folks impressed the heck out of me. You spent an entire weekend and many months preparing for this to try and make the world a better, safer place. Not for yourselves, but for all the people around you and 8 billion people and all the people in the future as well. So there's no way you can walk away from here feeling like a loser. There is a cash reward for every team to recognize that. But of course there is a team that is going to win a prize. I do want to remind you, and I'm looking in the camera, but you're over there, sometimes it's a bit of a dance. Last year, the Space for Good team did not win the prize, but they did go on to land and work on a really impressive pilot program with their stakeholders. In fact, I think, I'm pretty sure it's the largest certainly the largest we know of in Odyssey.
One of the bigger ones.
And that's without winning the prize. So
it's all about moving forward, following up, and believing in what you're doing, and finding out how that can be of value.
Exactly. We had 7 chapters across the weekend, as you well know. I consider this chapter 8. Chapter 9 starts tomorrow, or maybe for you it already started this morning, especially with these funny time zone things. I'm so jealous of the people who have sunshine. So chapter 9, it's all up to you collectively to go make that happen. So here's how it's going to work. We're going to set a drum roll, and then I'm going to count. Wait. And then I'm going to count down from 3, 2 to 1, and then I would invite Gertie and Dirk-Jan, if you wish to join, you can unmute, to declare the winning team. Then we're going to go talk to that team for a little bit, and we will come back to Gertie and or Dirk-Jan for a bit of a wrap-up, if that's okay with you.
Yes.
Fabulous.
Go ahead.
So, Dirk-Jan, if you want to join in, unmute yourself for now. We're going to start the Zoudam 1.0 drum machine and count you down with 3, 2, 1. The winning team is...
Teriak.
Teriak. There we are, Munir.
Congrats, Munir.
Look at
and
that.
the team.
Look at that.
Thank you.
Look at that big smile. There's applause here as well. Congratulations. Even the tech team. Well, it must be so fascinating for you to watch an event like this and come in like, oh yeah, we do cameras, we do tech, and it's like, wait, you're actually changing the world? We are. That's what we're trying to do.
They are.
Yeah, they are. I'm just sat here talking a lot. So if I could get Munir up on the screen, he's had a moment to breathe. Hello, sir. How are you?
I need more than a moment to breathe, but this is, I'm just honored, really. And I want to spend most of the time just talking about how incredible my team was in making this happen. I mean, the engineers we have are wizards. The academic mind, Mateusz, he fished out this concept of looking at piece indicators from the bottom up, and we just wrote from there, and we saw that this matched the briefing perfectly and formulated a strategy to just really fill those criteria. So happy that was recognized. Couldn't have done it without the stakeholders. Andrew, Sean, Axel, the other engineers on the team are, like I said, total wizards, but thank you. We're just really, really honored. And it's a joy to be able to join our paths of working on blockchain technology, but we all have humanitarian backgrounds and interests. So it was a dream come true to be able to make or at least potentially make a difference in peacekeeping. Thank you so much.
Wow.
I love to hear that. One of the things I was going to ask you is what attracted you to this challenge, but now you've made it clear. If you have a humanitarian background, then this would make an awful lot of sense.
Yeah.
Thank you for the gracious acceptance speech, but I want to take it a little bit further than that. What was it that you collectively built this weekend?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah, what was it you built this weekend as a team?
Oh, yeah. Would you like me to present the little slide, or
the slides will be taken care of by the tech team? So if you just
perfect.
Don't give us the PowerPoint version. Just be a human. It's fine. What was it?
Sure. So using a concept, it's a bit of a paradigm shifting concept for how to detect an early warning of conflict. Rather than looking for signs of conflict directly, you ask members of the community who know the specific indicators of what peace looks like in their community. You survey them and you identify those peace indicators through a very intimate, very nuanced, bottom-up process. An interesting example is, I have a Lebanese background. The first time I went to Lebanon for the first time, I crossed into the neighborhood that was controlled by Hezbollah, who, as you know, internationally are recognized as a terrorist organization by many. But when I entered this neighborhood and our car had to be inspected by Hezbollah soldiers, I talked to my friend who was picking me up and lived in that neighborhood. I said, wait, is this serious? Like, is this Hezbollah, like the terrorist group that's inspecting our car right now? Should I be worried about that? And he was like, no, you should only really be worried about that if you don't see them there. So as you can see, peace is context specific. And if you bring an outsider's perspective to interpreting peace on the ground, you can't really react properly and you can't react early. So what we do is we fish out what the local definition of peace is, and then we equip the people on the ground with a smartphone application where they can report if that peace indicator has disappeared. And what makes this magical, in our opinion, from the tech side, is our blockchain protocol that our engineers have built, which uses a web of trust system. So the peace builder on the ground, who is the first person to survey the public, he arranges the surveying of the community members on what those indicators of peace are. And as soon as those indicators of peace are declared by consensus, they end up on the app. The peacekeeper takes his application. He starts to scan in other people to use this system. And what that does is it creates degrees of separation from the peace builder. So as degrees of separation are scanned in, and this eventually is going to go out into the community fully, there's no limit to who can use it. The degrees of separation from the peace builder reduces the trust of that signal. And that's where the trustworthiness and how we're able to get reliable data. And with this system, you have everyone on the ground is a sensor. They're looking for indications that violence might be happening, and they're actively monitoring this. So if they see, for example, that there are no men at the market today, and usually when there were no men at the market in the past, it was followed by a raid or an invasion. So people can just say, very easy system, it's a green check mark or a red no mark. They can just hit the red no mark, and the more of these signals that come in, it'll reach the proper decision maker at the local level. And if escalation is necessary, we can bring in international reactors as well.
And do they? What kind of direct feedback loop do they get from this?
Do you mean the people on the ground?
Yeah, yeah. If they provide information to the system, what is the kind of direct feedback loop you can get from that?
Yes. So the system, as the people on the ground are monitoring for these peace indicators, it is sent up to a level for investigation, and the person who's in charge of investigating can activate local reactionary forces. It can be law enforcement. It can be the peace builder who calls in international peacekeeping actors like the Ministry of Defense, for example. But what the feedback loop is in terms of actually refining these peace indicators is that if there are too many false investigations, if, for example, tons of signals were coming in that there are no men at the market, the local peace builder who is at the center of receiving these signals goes out and sends a team to investigate this market and to investigate possible raids, to really start looking into this. If it turns out that too many times it was a false alarm, then the community can have a feedback loop in redefining what those peace indicators actually are. Maybe it's not a peace indicator that there are men at the market. So this is the iterative feedback loop at the local level, and the feedback loop at the top level is they can see eventually, as the signals come in, what are the real indicators of peace. And just as another interesting point, there's a lot of research being done on how you can scale peace indicators. So because indicators of peace are very localized in communities, I mean, it could be at the neighborhood level, ideally. There's a lot of research being done on, do these 5 peace indicators of this neighborhood also apply to other communities in the state, in the country? And they're actually finding encouraging research that they do. And that really helps the scalability and cutting down costs and just finding threads of what peace actually means across all communities eventually. And we could do longitudinal data analyses on these in the future across a period of years. But there's a lot that can be done with this data. So basically,
you could look at all the environmental and context data, and then also look at the data produced by let's say the templates that can be used to have these peace indicators, and then collectively basically learn what applies the best, right? What are the indicators that work for certain environmental and contextual circumstances? That's the
Indeed. You can, what we like about this system and what encourages us is that it grows. It's an evolutionary system. It evolves over time. I mean, if you're looking at an early warning system in the classic sense, which is looking from a top-down viewpoint, it has its definition of peace, and that definition of peace only really grows and in understanding of what peace is based on that person looking down. Yeah. But when you're taking this definition from the bottom up, it's constantly evolving, and what you can do with that data is very encouraging over time.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm gonna cut in there because I'm conscious of time and we got some stuff we want to do. But I've got to say,
Sorry, I have a ton of questions, but
no problem.
wow,
It's great
it's
content.
looking forward to
And we're doing this
to
for
talk
them.
further with you because it's really inspiring.
Well, I was just going to say I'm really inspired by this because, again, it's as simple as says I, as simple as you've turned it upside down and said. Top down hasn't been working. What if we try bottom up, and how could we do that? And you found some interesting ways, and I have no idea if they're the right way or not. But you've probably found a million ways to go figure out how to possibly do this, and that opens up opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. I'm stunned, and I got a feeling this is going to work because again, it's you've broken it down to something so simple to understand. But on the other hand, we are talking about solving world peace. So I'm curious to how you get into a pilot program. So Gertie, in a minute, I'm going to ask you about what comes next because there's something I've got to do beforehand for Munir, and that is we promised you over the weekend not only for the winning team the prize money, but an award created by, in fact, all of you and your teams in your track. It's a piece of digital art, and it looks something like, click, should be on your screen by now. This was comprised of 2,940 minutes, that's the tiny blocks, the length of the hackathon, of course, plus all of the wows, plus all of your ecosystem joins, invites, handshakes, etc., mashed up through a bunch of algorithms to create this genuinely unique piece of art that represents the hard work of collaboration in your track. And that has been digitized. We've added your team name and some data that is relevant to that. That has all been, and I don't know the tech here, you're the blockchain guys, coded up, thrown on the blockchain, validated, digitally signed. We're going to send you the keys, the castle, the tokens, whatever it is, and you and your team have got non-fungible bragging rights for eternity. So well done again to you. In the meantime, Gertie, I said we'd come back to you, and maybe you'll hand it back to Dirk-Jan. That's fine by me. What next? How do you start taking this ideas like this, and getting them out into the real world? Because again, like you said, technology is out there, data is out there, but until it becomes actionable in a timely manner, it doesn't really help.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Well, because we didn't know what to expect, and Dirk-Jan and I, we work for a government organization. There's no way we can claim money for something that is not there yet. So that we cannot define in any means. So what we come up with is that in the coming weeks, before Ignite, we'd like to organize a workshop with Teriak, but also with the other teams, if they're interested, to see whether we can enrich the concept of Teriak by inputs from the other teams that we find interesting. We think that it's possible.
Oh,
so
wow.
It's not for any reason that we had more than an hour debate, because we think there are strong points in each of the solutions. And I don't know whether teams are interested, but if they are, let them decide and join.
Fantastic. That's a twist in the tail.
With us and with our partners. So not only with defense, but also foreign affairs and everybody we have worked with, and see how we can build it further and go towards some track to operationalize it. Also, we are looking for the right platform where we can showcase the solution of Teriak internationally, and to attract attention for this solution, and also to attract new partners who would like to join in the whole effort to create something that we can really use.
Fabulous.
So that is what the plans are.
So that's your next steps. That's already ambitious, and I think I can hear a sort of call to action there. If somebody's watching this now or in the future, and this sounds great to you, and you think, I know how to get involved with this, or I can offer something, or I have an environment where this could be tested, or it doesn't matter. If you've got something to contribute, you're welcome to get in contact and try to make that happen. Is that right?
Yeah, Gertie, you may remember our friend from India at the lunch meeting we had with Scylla and Mr. Toby Simon, who spearheads the Synergia Foundation that pulls together a really high-level officials in the intelligence and security community all around the globe, but especially in the area of India and up north there, as well as the Middle East. And so I'm looking very much forward to bringing you, to reconnecting you, basically, with this amazing new narrative, because I'm very sure that that they will be interested in this.
Oh, super!
Yeah.
I will be very interested, and I know Dirk-Jan as well, to reconnect with Toby Simon. That would be awesome, really. Cool. And with all the teams, right, guys? With all the teams.
Yeah, very
fabulous.
Good.
We're getting thumbs up.
We continue working if they want.
Exactly. Yeah. Could somebody from the tech team or the crew just do me a favor? Send Rutger an email to remind him to make that connection.
Yeah, no worries. This is so inspiring. I won't forget this.
I know that, but we've got another 17,000 shows to do today. Who knows what's coming up? So they'll take care of that. If it's okay with you, I'm going to wrap this up. If you have been watching this on the live stream, thank you so much. If you're watching this in the future, thank you so much. This was the finale for the conflict prevention track with our challenge leads from the Ministry of Defense here in the Netherlands and teams from all around the world. Twist in the tail. There was a winning team, Theriac, and congratulations again to you. But all of the teams are invited to keep the communication lines open and please be proactive about that. There is no losers here if things can be adapted and integrated. That is the offer from our challenge leads.
Yeah, I have to say, Gertie, Dirk-Jan, all the teams, for Gertie and Dirk-Jan, it was their first rodeo, as Nick puts it. But you can be really, really proud altogether what you have achieved in this journey. Because it blows my mind. It's truly inspiring what you have doing in there. There's a lot in there for the future.
I look forward to reading the case study of this one in I don't know, a year or two when some progress has been made for sure. If you're watching on the live stream, we're going to take a short break because we're going to move from conflict prevention to energy singularity. I guess that means we're going to have Ed on the line, and you all know Ed, of course, because he's got the best voice ever. I'm looking forward to that. We are back in 7 minutes. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
ciao.
Team.
Thank you.
Thank Odyssey team. Ciao, ciao.
Yeah, ciao.